following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Welcome to the Local Spin, where we go inside the minds of Western New York's most creative visionaries. And today we have an educator, a performer, a vocalist, a director, a producer. We welcome Rob Pacillo. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm very, very glad to get this opportunity to talk with you and get to know a little bit more about your story. And we've known each other for a little bit now, your association with Harmonia. We're going to get to that entire thing because that's a big part of what you do locally. And arguably probably one of the most successful vocal ensembles in all of Western New York. It's tremendous, and we are going to get to that. But, you know, I thought, why don't we just start kind of like with your upbringing and how you got into music, and because you're a local product, right? You're from Western New York.
Yeah, grew up in Kenmore.
Grew up in Kenmore, all right.
Yeah, so.
And what schools did you go to early on?
Well, I went to St. Paul's in Kenmore from K through 8.
It sounds like what I did in Niagara Falls.
I heard on one of your with Pat Stack. I think.
Same thing.
Yeah, similar story. I made it through 8th grade.
Okay.
And then I went to Kenmore West for high school. And that was, quite a switch from Catholic school to public school, but no big deal. And then I went to University of Buffalo for all my undergrad and
Were you always into music?
Yeah, I mean, my mom was always singing. My dad, you would not want to hear him singing. So my mom was always singing around the house.
That's usually the way it goes, though.
I think so.
I've seen that where one parent is very, very musical. Obviously, there's a situation where you have two parents that are musical. But most of the time, I know if there's one parent who's very musical and can sing or do another type of maybe instrument or something like that. And then the other one is just like totally not there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My mom sang, but my dad was always playing music and a variety of stuff. I think that's part of what led me to a career in it. He was always playing
music as an instrument?
No, just recordings.
All the time.
My dad is Lebanese and Italian.
Okay.
And my mom's Korean. So
right.
So she was always singing not Korean songs, sometimes Korean songs, but my dad was always playing Arabic music, opera, classical, like all this.
That's very eclectic.
Very eclectic. And so we just grew up listening to all different kinds.
And probably pop stuff as well, right?
No.
Not
my dad was not a pop guy. In fact, that was forbidden.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, not forbidden. I mean,
No, but I understand what you're saying. It was like, in this house, this is what we listen to.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
So you were brought up on a different, let's say, a different musical palette than a lot of other folks.
Yeah. I started taking piano when I was 7. So that's when I started kind of realizing there was a talent there. But I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and we all took piano. And we all started, just played instruments, and we didn't really sing. So it's funny how eventually I ended up like that's my whole life. But the piano thing, I was 7 years old. There was a piano store at the end of my block in Kenmore, and we all just walked over, took piano lessons for a while. And then I, went through a few different piano teachers. But that was it. That was my musical outlet, was piano. And, I played up till high school, and at one point my mom was like the musical person, my dad was more of the academic, but they both agreed that we should be well-rounded. So there was a point where my parents just said, okay, if you don't want to take piano anymore, you guys can stop. And I was the only one who kept going.
And you still play piano to this day?
I do, yeah. So I went to UB for piano performance and music ed, so I can play.
Yeah, I would imagine if you went to school for it.
Yeah.
But when I see you performing out now, I don't see you sitting behind a keyboard ever.
I don't. Occasionally, at rehearsal, I run rehearsal behind the piano when I need to. But it's just a skill that I don't take for granted. Like, I appreciate that my parents made me do it.
Sure.
Because it's very handy, especially as a high school choral director.
Every single person I have ever met in my life that took piano when they were a child and then stopped for whatever reason has come up to me and said the exact same line. I wish I never stopped.
That's right. I hear it all the time.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing about being a musician. It's like you can do this for as long as you want to do it.
Yep.
Right? and it's always with you. It's always part of you.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to something you said just a second ago. So, in your house, you were listening to a lot of ethnic music, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Traditional ethnic music, and I would also say maybe classical. You said, right?
Yeah. Oh, I can't forget country.
Country.
There's a lot of country, like old country, like Hank Williams and
So your
you know,
dad
Merle
liked that.
Haggard and
He liked that.
yeah.
So in his mind, that was probably his pop music.
Yep.
Was the country stuff. So growing up with that type of influence, when did you start branching out and doing your own thing musically?
Probably high school, like right after. Yeah, late high school. Okay, so the funny story is I really didn't let people know I was a musical guy in high school or
Well, how
played
could you
piano
not? How could they not know it?
because I just didn't play piano around people. Like, and I wasn't a singer. I wasn't in band or chorus.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're off to the side here.
Off to the side. I took art classes because I had to take art or music, and I was just like, well, I already play piano. Why would I need to take a music class?
Why would I need any type of formal instruction? I
Right.
can already do this. I'll just go and learn how to
Yeah,
paint.
just
There you go.
yeah. So art was fun, and you know, it was just a cool experience there. But
So wait
towards
a minute, before you,
Yeah, yeah.
are you an artist too? Is that
I mean, I could draw at one point.
all right?
But you know, I don't know.
I just want to know if
Not
there's any
anymore.
end to these talents here that we're.
I don't know. I mean, I look at them as a little bit like talent, or just you grow up trying to do everything,
Sure.
and then finding out what you're good at. I mean, at least that's what the idea is. So yeah, I took art, but sometime in my senior year there was a talent show, and I wasn't going to do anything at it, but I was in the lunchroom, and there was a couple guys walking around. They're like, "We have a band. Our singer just dropped out. We need someone to sing a song." It was a Van Halen song, "Dreams," and like I'm not a singer, but I don't know why I agreed to do it, but I'm like, I think I can sing. You know, I could sing if you want somebody, and so we ended up entering the talent show. Now I could not sing like Sammy Hagar, so I sang everything down the octave, and I'm just like, this doesn't sound right, but we still ended up winning first place.
Really?
Yeah,
And
it's-
that was the only time that you.
The only
at
time
that
I sang-
point, nobody even knew that you could sing.
No, I didn't know I could sing.
And how old are you at this point now?
I mean, at that point I was like 18. Yeah,
18.
yeah, I was a senior in high school.
So no singing your entire life.
No, I mean, I knew I could sing, but I just never did it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was just a funny experience. And
This is wild because normally when I talk to people, they said, well, I knew I was like 8 years old and I started this and I could always do this and I could put this song to this melody and I was writing music or I could play this instrument. That was not your experience.
no, not at all.
That is that's throwing me.
I know. Well, there's all kinds of stuff that I'm like when people find out I'm a hunter, like what? There's just all this crazy stuff. I was a wrestler in high school. That was my main thing.
You were a wrestler.
Like a wrestler, and I did judo.
Okay.
And that was my dad. Like basically what my dad did in his life, we did.
Okay.
So like we do Latin lessons, Japanese lessons. We learned to speak multiple languages. We didn't.
How many languages can you speak?
No, I can't speak any. Like,
No.
I took French in high school, so I could at one point speak a little bit of French. I was thinking in French. That's how far I got, and then I just, eventually.
Went on to something else.
Yeah. But we were always doing something academic, music, physical related. My parents wanted us to be well rounded, so that's where the judo came in. My dad did judo when he was younger, and actually lived in Japan, learned karate there in the 60s. But and then wrestling, he was never a wrestler, but that was the closest thing to judo in high school. So that's
Okay.
what we did. So me and my brothers were all wrestlers.
Well, it's amazing, and I want to go back to this because I don't hear this that often. It's that you weren't thinking, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to go into music education, I'm going to play piano, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. You're 18 years old at this point in your life, and you're wrestling. There's really no background that would lead you to say, okay, I'm going to go into music. And to get into music school, you have to prepare, and you have to do auditions and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
Well, I didn't start off in music. I actually started off at UB in pre-med because
Okay.
Yeah, I just I thought, well, maybe I'll be a doctor. I have a few uncles on my mom's side who are doctors, orthopedic surgeon, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, the pressure's on, maybe to become something big in that field. But I just didn't. It didn't catch. Like I didn't really see myself doing that as a career. So my first year at UB was pre-med, but I didn't really get into any medical courses. You're taking a lot of prerequisites. And second year of UB, I changed to economics because I thought, well, my dad's business is Pacillo's Fitness Gear. Like he started that business in the 70s. And so that's where I thought, well, maybe if I'm going to take over the business, I should probably know a little bit about business. And that didn't last long. That was a semester. So then I went to mechanical engineering for a year and a half.
You just tried everything.
I was
right?
trying everything because I said, well, what can I do for the rest of my life? And I was good in math in high school. I loved math. So college level math is a little different. And, mechanical engineering, just like there were too many math whizzes. I was like, no, these guys are serious and they don't seem to have to try. And I was like reading all the books and trying, and it wasn't catching. And there weren't a lot of girls in mechanical engineering. So I'm like,
that's never going to fly.
Yeah. This is just not going to work. And meanwhile, I was always hanging out in the music building, like Slee Hall, Baird Hall. I made a lot of friends over there. I was just like curious, and I'd always stop in, talk to the admin over there, and say like, how can I be a music minor? Like, what do I have to do to minor in music just in case? So they said, well, you have to be in an ensemble. And meanwhile, I took a couple of music classes. Like I took a history class. I even took theory. I wasn't even a major or minor at that point, but I'm like, I'm pretty good at music theory. So I took intermediate theory, and it was like super hard, but I liked it. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, I'm like, I think I better consider switching. And so I became a minor, and they said, well, you have to be in an ensemble. So at that point, I wasn't singing.
Still not singing.
Still not singing. I was doing piano, but I'm like, well, piano's not going to get me far here because I don't want to be a solo. Like, I'm not going to play concertos, So I'm like, that's not going to be very helpful in a wind ensemble either. So, well, I guess my only option is to join choir. So I said, okay, I'll be in an ensemble. And Harriet Simons, who was the longtime choral director there at UB, that was her last year. And luckily I got to meet her and sing under her conducting. And that's when I joined choir, and I auditioned as a bass 2. I was accepted. I'm a tenor. I was going to say, I
didn't think your voice was that low.
Yeah, no. It was low at the time because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm like, I think I have some low notes, and I kind of cranked out a few low notes. So I joined as a bass 2 for my first year, and then eventually I became a tenor 1. But yeah,
that is the most disjointed story to be.
That's how I feel like my life is. I'm like,
but it's worked out
all
real
different
well
kinds of
for
angles.
You.
Yeah, it did.
It's funny you mentioned that that you knew that you can draw and stuff like that. That we have a little bit of a parallel. My first year at college, I went as a fine arts major, and I could do certain things pretty decently if I really applied myself. But we had this real art class, and you know what real art is, right? You draw it, and it's supposed to look exactly like what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the day that I decided this isn't for me. I'm in the wrong place, I should say.
Yeah.
We had a draw, I think it was a vase or something. We went through like 2 hours of this, and I looked at mine, and I says, okay, that looks like the vase, right? I looked at the person next to me, it looked exactly like it. The person to the right looked exactly. I walked around the room, it looked exactly like what I was looking at. I looked at mine, looked like a cartoon picture of it. I said, okay, well, then they put something else up. Same thing happened. Like after 2 weeks, I said, I don't belong here. I'll draw my cartoons, but there's no way that I belong in this class.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a similar thing where you have this own like personal awakening and saying, well, maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
And so you got to be at this point in your life, what, 20?
Yeah.
Somewhere around
there? 2021. I was third year of college. So I ended up doing mechanical engineering for the remainder. Meanwhile, I was also on the UB wrestling team, but not great. These guys were all state champs, and I was more like a workout partner rather than, I'm not going to do this for very long. So at the end of my third year, it was just like an awakening, kind of coming to terms with where do I want to go with this? And that's when I decided okay, I'm a minor right now. If I want to become a major, I gotta audition.
Mm-hmm.
So the summer between my third and fourth year, I ended up doing a total of 6 years of
I
undergrad.
was going to say, how long
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it take
Like
you
how
to
long?
get
Yeah,
out of there?
like I'm 40 by the time I graduate. No,
It's like last week I finally graduated.
yeah, right. So anyway, I decided I would major, but I would have to audition as a piano major and then a vocal major for music ed. So
And then did things start to click and you said, okay, this is where I belong?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I got into the school, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. By the time I got to my fourth year of college and first year of being a music student, the music ed program at UB was also on the way out. So we were the last class to go through
Okay.
as a music ed for music ed majors. So we got the option: you can go to Fredonia and continue your studies, or you could stay at UB and maybe not get the same experience, like maybe fewer experiences in the classroom or whatnot. So I decided to stay at UB, and just because that's where I was and I didn't want to move away, so that's what I did. So I was accepted to the school, took piano lessons with Stephen Manis, and took music ed classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you do your graduate work there? Or
I did it at UB too.
So you did the whole thing at UB?
All 10 years, because my graduate school was I was teaching, so I just took like night classes, one class here and there, summer classes. So I stretched it out.
I guess so.
Yeah, so I could have had a doctorate in something. Like I guess I could have been a doctor.
You should have your name on a wing
I know, really.
over in the music department or
maybe-
somewhere in that.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, it all worked out really, really well for you. So now you finally graduate, and you say, okay, I'm going to go into music ed, right? Because
Yeah.
you got a performance degree and you had an ed degree,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
All right. So you make the decision, all right, I want to go into teaching.
yeah.
How did that go right off the bat? Because I
Well,
know that
yeah.
it's fairly competitive once you
It was at
graduate.
the time. So 2000 is when I got my undergrad degree, and I applied to multiple jobs. And just being out of college, you're not very, you don't appeal to a lot of districts right away with no experience. But maybe October of 2000, I got my first call from West Seneca. I took a part-time job teaching elementary music.
That's where everybody starts.
Yeah. And actually, the principal was my former assistant principal at Kenmore West. So she knew me. She was like, I want to give this guy a chance. So I taught there for that first year. In the meantime, a job opened in Lockport, and it was a middle school job, choral, and I interviewed for that, and I ended up getting the job. And what actually the principal, Nick Cedrone, was the principal at the time. He liked me because I didn't just do music. I was like, he saw that I was a wrestler. He saw all this stuff. He's like, I want people who do a lot of things and not just their career. So he hired me, and I taught for 9 years at North Park Middle School, and then I moved up to the high school, Lockport High School, and that's where I've been since 2010. So
I'd say that's a bit of a success story, right?
yeah. So how did I get into education? It just seemed like the right career to be stable, like to have a stable career, right? I wasn't going to be a performer, not very stable, and just I just explored all the options, and education seemed to be the best one.
Well, you're one of those rare artists that has a really, really strong balance between right brain and left brain. I could tell in just very, very few minutes of the interview here that I can tell that there's both sides happening. And the way that you articulate how you wound up in education is through a thought process, and you're looking at, okay, what can I do? What's going to be stable? How can I raise a family? And all these things are going through your head. Do I want to be on the road? Do I want to go from town to town living out of suitcases? No, that's not stable. I can't do what I want to do. But that's the left brain, right brain thing, and you've got a great balance between the two.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
No, I can
Yeah,
tell.
I think my wife's, she might argue with, I'm still trying to find the right balance, trying to figure things out, but, she's.
So you've been at Lockport High School now for how many years? You said
This is my 16th year.
that's a long haul.
Yeah,
It really is.
I love it there though.
Yeah. I find that with a lot of the teachers that I have come across and spoke with about their career and what they do and how they do it, find themselves in a situation where it's the environment, and they don't call them their students, they say my kids.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. I have to be there for them, and there's that sense of that sense of responsibility almost for these kids.
Sure.
There's got to be challenges though, right? Year after year.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the great thing about teaching music as opposed to like math or science is that the students are always different, but the journey's always different too. Mm-hmm. Like the music is always different. The personalities, they all come together for the common goal, but it's a challenge, but in a good way, because it keeps me on my toes, and it keeps everything interesting. I'm not teaching just the same material year to year. So,
and then you get to see the progression, right? I mean, you really see that progression because you're with these kids for 4 or 5 years,
4 years,
right? Where a lot of times they'll just pass through 1 year.
Right. And I guess that's the reason why I was attracted to the high school level. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But no, like when I taught middle school, I just taught 6th grade chorus, and then
you just had them just
general
one
music,
time,
just the 1 year. So I was like, oh, you work so hard over the year, and then they're gone. So it was actually at North Park Middle School when I started a vocal jazz group outside, like an after-school group, and it was just for fun. But then I could work with SATB, like the 4-part harmonies, work with a style of music that I took
well, the
an
kids
interest
are getting
in.
older and they're understanding, right?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, what we'll do is let's take our first break, and we'll come back and we'll pick up where we left off. So we're going to hear from our sponsor, Make Wellness, all natural peptides. Listen to the commercial, click on the link.
Imagine you could target stubborn visceral fat and lose weight, increase your energy, lower cortisol levels and decrease inflammation, fall asleep and stay asleep, build lean muscle, power through your to-do list, say goodbye to brain fog, and decrease stress and anxiety. You owe it to yourself to at least get more information. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to the Local Spin. Rob Pacillo's with us today. As I said at the onset, he's an educator, he's a performer, he's a vocalist, he's a director, he's a producer. In the first segment, we spoke an awful lot about your upbringing, how you came to get into music, which is the craziest journey I think I've ever heard for a professional musician. And you're a professional musician, you teach music, you perform music, you've got the different ensembles that you lead. So I can't get over the fact that most kids that go into music know that they're going to do it at an early age, and here you are, 18 years old, just starting, and you go to college for 2 or 3 or 4 different things, and finally say, well, maybe I'll do this.
Yeah.
So it's really an incredible journey. We left off at your education job, which you are right now in Lockport. And I know after speaking with so many different music teachers all across the area that when you're a music teacher, it's a little bit different than if you're just teaching a subject that you're seeing the kids just like 1 year. They come through like 6th grade math or 7th grade science or something like that. You have these kids for sometimes 3, 4, 5 years. And then after they leave, you still find a way to maybe support them when they're performing locally, or they'll tell you, hey, I'm coming through, come on out and see a show.
Yeah.
So what's that like for you?
Well, I mean, it's crazy. Like, so after teaching for this long, this is my 26th year, I guess, you meet thousands of students, and then they go off to various careers, a lot of them in performing. Mm-hmm. So, like, I guess the most well-known example is Joshua Vacanti. He was on The Voice. He's got a pretty successful singing career, and it was great to watch that whole progression, because I know he tried out a couple times and was just ready to give up on the whole performing career, and then he just got the call that brought him to the show. And so, I mean, that's maybe the most high-profile example, but lots of students that are in education, kind of following the same path that I did, maybe not the same exact path. Because I think
going to follow
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to
I mean, if you drop breadcrumbs, I don't know if you're going to be able to follow that path. But.
Right. But no, it's always wonderful to see. Like I've got one student in Florida. She's teaching high school. I think she's working. She got her master's in choral conducting, and she played piano in high school and sang. And I mean, she's just grabbed, like choral music just took hold of her, and now she's going to lead college choirs, and I don't know. It's just fun to be a small part of my students' lives, and to see them progress.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because you're saying a small part of their life. I would guarantee you, to a student, if they said to that student, who was your most influential teacher, I bet you your name's going to come up. To them, I don't think they would consider it a small part of their life.
Yeah, I guess I mean, like, a blink of an eye in the grand scheme of things. And, I try to have a major impact every day, and I try to teach about life too, because, I've been through a lot. I have a lot of experience, and, it's not just about music, but it's like the human making the music. And, not everything's going to be easy or given to you, and you got to work hard. You got to work harder than the next person.
And life isn't fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're going to think you're doing all the right things, and still not going to. Like sometimes the harder you work, you kind of make your luck. Like people who are lucky, who seem to have all the luck, most often
are the hardest workers.
They're
right?
the hardest workers. They worked hard so that
Sure.
they had more chances to.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it goes back to what we were saying. You have those kids for 3-4 years. They get to know you. They come to you with their problems. They don't have to be music related.
Yeah.
And then you become a confidant and a role model, and you become Exhibit A. And oh, by the way, you're teaching them music, and they go out. What are your thoughts on those shows like The Voice and America's Got Talent and stuff like that? I've heard different opinions from all sorts of people on whether they're good, whether they're not good, whether exploitation, whether it's fun, what do you think?
I don't know. I guess my opinion is that we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. We just see who's eventually selected through probably a really long process. So there's a bit of luck. Obviously, talent is involved. I don't know. To me, exploitation's probably rampant.
I just hear that a lot when I talk to educators and say, well, some of them like them, some of them's like, I don't know, it's a game show.
Right, and there's probably a little bit of fixing, the results, even though not fixing, but just like, you kind of, the people who win are the ones maybe that were going to win all along. I don't know. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch episode, the Johnny Bravo. Do you remember that one?
No.
Where there was a Johnny Bravo, and I forgot what the heck he was. Anyway, the long and short of it is they found Greg Brady, and the reason why he became Johnny Bravo because he fit the suit. The suit fit him, right? He literally, the suit fit, so he was, and then all of a sudden something happens. They said, well, somebody else. They take the suit back and go give it to somebody else. It's just a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, before we go on to the next subject that I want to make sure that we hit here in depth, your thoughts on what the future is for you teaching, and what do you see going forward in the next 4 or 5 years for music in Western New York at the public school level?
Well, I can retire in 5 years.
Okay.
So I hit 55 and I think 32 years at that point, 31 years. So I could retire. And beyond that, I direct, I'm sure you're going to ask me about Harmonia, but, I've got my professional group, and I think I'll probably continue conducting, like guest conductors at area all states and maybe all state and all counties. So I'd like to do that. I've probably done about 4 all counties at this point. Did one area all state. So that's always fun. I like going in for 2 days, working with kids, and trying to come up with a good result at the end of it. I like picking a lot of repertoire. I like variety. Like all kinds of eclectic music out there.
Do you think that the different schools are as strong now as they were a few years back in terms of the music that they're able to perform and the levels of which they're able to perform?
You mean like prior to COVID, or just over time?
Just over time. I mean, you could throw COVID in there as a factor.
Yeah. Well, I think COVID did, as far as singing, I think it really impacted kids in a negative way, like just the shutdowns and the masking and all that. It took a few years to bounce back and bring them back up, even with audiences, just to get the larger audiences that maybe arts organizations used to have. It's been a process getting those people back. But back to the kids and the singing. No, I still challenge. Like, I can't speak for other high school
Can
directors.
they still do level 6? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I do level 6. I think there was only one year I did level 5. So level 6 NISMA repertoire, I push them. Like this year, it was last year, I took one of my concert choir, sang 3 pieces, and one of the judges' comments was, "Can you pick anything harder?" Obviously, they were being sarcastic, but these kids work hard. Like, whatever I throw in there, they're willing to jump at it. I think it's a culture that you have to build up. You can't just walk into any high school choral program and throw the hardest stuff at them. They'll just laugh at you. Or just...
Well, you need the feeders, as they call them, right?
Yeah.
You need that strong support behind you in elementary to get them ready for middle, and then when they get to middle, you need that strong program so that when they come to high school, you're performing high school music.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lockport has amazing music teachers, including my wife. She teaches elementary, so, but in Lockport. So.
Do you guys ever collaborate together?
We haven't. I mean, we talked about doing a choral collaboration, like among all the grade levels, but it's just coordinating it is a little bit difficult. But I think I'll make that a priority before I retire.
Yeah.
My wife has 10 more years at least. I have 5. So.
So you're going to tell her what to do for the last 10 years of her career?
Nope, not going to tell her. Nope, not at all.
All right, we'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Harmonia Chamber Singers. Make wellness peptides.
Imagine you could target stubborn visceral fat and lose weight, increase your energy, lower cortisol levels and decrease inflammation, fall asleep and stay asleep, build lean muscle, power through your to-do list, say goodbye to brain fog, and decrease stress and anxiety. You owe it to yourself to at least get more information. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back. Final segment with Rob Pacillo, and we've hit on a bunch of different things. We hit on your journey to get into music, what you're doing right now, and what you have been doing for the past 26 years, being an educator here in Western New York, Lockport City School System. Now, your passion is the Harmonia Chamber Singers. So I started off the podcast saying it's probably one of the most successful vocal ensembles in all of Western New York. And I'm not being patronizing. I know that you guys are successful because I see you performing all summer long, but it's probably one of the best vocal groups I heard. I remember the first time I heard it, I really was so impressed, and I enjoyed the program so tremendously. It was the vocal jazz ensemble part of the Harmonia Singers. But let's start at the beginning here. How did you get this up and off the ground in Western New York when I don't know too many other groups very much like this in the area performing? Yeah.
So we started 20 years ago. This is the middle of our 20th anniversary season of Harmonia Chamber Singers. And so 2006, at that point, I was singing in a group called Vocalist Chamber Choir. I sang with them for 4 years. And I knew that there was like other rep that I wanted to perform. And the vocalist was focused on a particular set of rep. And I thought, well, vocal jazz, rock, pop, like all this stuff that I'm interested in. I thought maybe I should start a group, or we'll just see where it goes. So the original concept was just eight voices, something like the Swingle Singers. They were big in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Mm-hmm. They did like Bach arrangements in a jazzy way. So it just appealed to me, and I'm like, I think I'll start a group. So my wife and I, right after we got married, we often joke that Harmonia was our first child, and then we had our son. Yeah, it was just fun, just get some friends together and see what happened, and here we are 20 years later.
So the chamber singers now, they're going to do more of a legitimate repertoire.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that first.
Sure.
How many members? Where do they come from? How long have they been together? Is it an open door? People are coming in and out? What's happening with
It's
that?
a little bit of all that. So originally, I think for a while we had a pretty solid roster, the same people doing, and in order to accommodate people's schedules, I started doing more of a rotating roster, so that people, let's say they couldn't make one concert or whatever. So you have mostly the same people, and that's how we operate now. We have mostly the same people, but occasionally we have to supplement with other voices depending on where and where we're singing.
And is that a very rich talent pool that's able to come in and do what you guys do?
I mean,
that's different than just singing and rock.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in New York, right? Or like London, where you have people singing in multiple groups, or you have this immense pool of talent that can sing jazz and classical. So yeah, Buffalo's more of a limited market. That's always been the struggle in a way, but
Well, it's a smaller market,
Yeah.
right? So you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, but pretty much everyone who's ever come in, if they don't know some styles or whatever, we work on it. So it's always worked out.
Yeah, the chamber singers, what size group is that?
About 20. Yeah, I mean, at our largest, we were 24. And depending on what we need, like if we're singing with orchestra, I might supplement with more people. Like the Ars Nova Chamber Orchestra, we did a collaboration with them. And
Are there many groups like this in Western New York?
Not too
I was
many.
going to say, because I really only know about your group.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of choral groups. And even post-COVID, more choral groups popped up. So, I mean, there's a healthy amount of choral
All
groups.
right.
Yeah. Church choirs or professional or semi-professional or community.
Now, do you collaborate with like local churches to bring your group in and maybe... Okay, so is that many performance opportunities for you, or are you trying to do something in a different vein?
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll go in churches, performing spaces, like, secular places. We pick our venues for the acoustics. So if let's say we're doing Renaissance sacred music, then we'll want a place that has a lot of echo. So like a cathedral or a larger space that doesn't have carpeting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're pretty flexible.
And what's the trajectory to get into the ensemble, and then is there like a process where you have to try out?
Yeah, we have an audition process, and at this point, like we used to have annual like summertime auditions, but now it's kind of like word of mouth. We still advertise on our website that you can contact us for audition. So we'll get usually by appointment. And then there's a whole list of criteria that what we're
Do you
looking
have a
for.
waiting list of people wanting to join?
No, not really.
Not really?
Yeah, I mean, if they reach out, we set up something and we listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the chamber singers, you decided, okay, well, this is more, the repertoire here is more classical. Okay. Now all of a sudden you're like, well, I want that Manhattan transfer sound. I want to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What happens there? How did that branch
That
out?
probably started. So I'm one of the few high school directors who has a vocal jazz ensemble as part of the school day. So I've been doing that since I started at the high school, and I'm like, there's no professional or even really just any vocal jazz group outside of high schools. There may be some college groups, but nothing community or professional.
Right.
So I'm like, I saw a need maybe or an opportunity to say, will this work or not? So some of the singers in Harmonia, chamber singers, were also good at pop, jazz, so I asked some of them. And I knew a few other jazz singers in the area, including your daughter. And so I contacted a few people. I think our first year we were 12 singers. And, it really just took off. We did our first concert in 2022 at Babeville.
Which is a beautiful venue for
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's where we've been back every year since then. So this July 16th, we have our fifth Babeville performance.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity, as I said, to see a number of times, and I'm always very, very much impressed with the product. The singing is absolutely spot on, and the other thing that I really enjoy is I like the presentation. It doesn't look forced. It looks very natural, but the enjoyment on the faces of those performing is so genuine that you watch it and you can't help but just feel that joy that they're experiencing. And the other thing is it's not all in the same vein. Every single concert that I've ever seen your group perform, the program has been diverse, so it could be in the same style, but it's not all in your face and it's not all laid back. There's a nice ebb and flow of the concert. I would imagine that you as the producer, right? You're picking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice because you could get very, very sensitive to where you can almost hear a pin drop and then turn around and then all 10 voices in the ensemble? Is that what
Between 10 and 12.
Between 10 and 12.
Yeah.
All right. So you're covering, you're doubling or tripling the.
Some of them.
Part, yeah.
Yeah, some of the arrangements are 10 voices, 10 parts. So we cover it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, doubling from time to time.
Yeah,
so that's where
fantastic.
blend and balance has to really play a key role.
Sure.
Yeah. Because if you're doing 4 part, you got to just make sure the voices are blending. So I have to pick the voices that are gonna.
Right.
I think they say it in movies, but like 90% of your success is in casting. Like if you get the right voices, you could blend, seamlessly.
Well, you've said the word blend probably 6 times in the last 5 minutes. But I'm not pointing that out to point out a redundancy. No, it's because that is what is crucial to what you do. And I think the average person who's listening to this, who may not be a vocalist or an instrumentalist, never played in a band, they don't realize how important that aspect is to the performance and to the final product. It's not just singing a note, it's singing it and hearing where it fits within the context of your section, and then within the context of the part of the song that you're singing, and then in the overall presentation of the piece.
Yeah,
it's a strong centric component to what you guys do.
Yeah. Well, you got to pick the right voices that can go solo, and then become seamlessly one, right? Become unified. Because the jazz harmonies are so tight, you got these close chords, and if the voices are singing with vibrato or not locking into the same tuning, then it's really hard to sound good. So that's the trick, is to find the right voices that can be versatile like that.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when they're all singing, let's say unison, and maybe it would be in octaves or something, but you're not hearing that beat, right?
Right.
So I'm telling you, there's a lot of really, really fine execution on your part.
No, thank you.
And then, well, the other thing too is like it's your group. You're the producer. You're the director. You're the guy who's going out there and finding the gigs and doing the placement and everything. Do you sing a solo ever? I don't think I've ever seen you sing a solo.
I'm
like
a choral
4-bar
singer who
here?
can fake solo.
Well,
like
you don't have to scat, but I mean,
right. Yeah, I occasionally have solos here and there if my singers let me, but yeah. No, most often I'm blending in the ensemble. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're happy to push the others forward, right?
Yeah. And someone's got to flap their arms and keep the band together.
Well, it works. I mean, it's a good presentation, and you have a system, obviously. I think that it's the other thing I like about the presentation is that it's not a very, I want to say this the right way because I don't want to offend you.
Yeah.
It's not a highbrow type of presentation where it's off-putting, okay? Because you could get into situations like that where everybody's so stuffy and they're so tight that you're afraid to like breathe the wrong way. It's gonna be, but it's very, very. You make it very approachable, and the reason why I think that's important is because I would say that maybe 75-80% of any given audience probably isn't putting on the Manhattan Transfer or the other groups that you had met.
New York Voices,
right? Singers Unlimited. They're not going home and putting that on their playlists.
Yeah.
So that is something that is an experience for them.
Sure.
And
exposing like new audiences to those groups.
Sure, and you don't want to turn them off by being, off-putting.
Right.
You want to have that air about you where you're inviting them to share in it. I think you do a really, really good job of that too.
Thanks. Well, it's fun to pick out the rep for these things because I think I guess the guide for me is if I was in the audience, would I be interested? Like would I enjoy this? So you pick bossa novas, your ballads, your fast swing, medium swing, like your big band stuff. Mm-hmm. To me, that's interesting. And because I have that eclectic background in music and I just listen to so much of it out there, I think I'm a decent gauge of what people might like, but I also take a lot of feedback from the singers. So I'm like, hey, is there anything you guys would like? And they love
Is there
shit.
a lot of pushback sometimes when you want to do something?
No, not. I wouldn't say pushback. There might be some eye rolling, like this is too hard, but we end up making it happen.
Well, seeing as how you have an eclectic group, when are we going to hear Bohemian Rhapsody?
Acapella version?
I don't care whether
I don't know.
I mean,
it
can be done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything can be done.
So is this a suggestion for us?
Well, I mean, it could be a suggestion. I mean, the people are clamoring for it. I hear.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
or find me somebody to love.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
Well, we actually, former singer of ours, her husband arranged Somebody to Love for us.
You did.
Yeah,
really?
not for the jazz group, for the choral, chamber group. So we did do a Queen song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Bohemian Rhapsody, I mean, between Somebody to Love and Bohemian Rhapsody, I think you got your work cut out. Do you ever do any of the arrangements yourself? Do you do that?
Not recently. We have a few people in the group now that are arrangers. Like, I think Mark Marnaccio is probably going to arrange something eventually for us.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. Like, I've done a couple arrangements, but not jazz. I arranged Let It Be.
Okay.
For the eight-part arrangement.
Well, that would be a beautiful song to hear.
Yeah.
I think you should come back for the summer concerts you have coming up.
Yeah.
So when's your next
the next
run,
gig?
Right? I mean, it's coming up, isn't
it? Yeah.
Don't
Thursday, July 16th.
Oh, so you're starting in July?
Yeah, July.
Okay.
Yeah. We haven't even had our first practice yet.
Really? So
well,
there's
it's
still
usually
time
a
for
quick
Bohemian Rhapsody. Then.
I think so. Yeah. I'll be on the lookout. Maybe. Hey, it still could happen. Thursday, July 16th at Babeville, 7:30 is our next gig, and then just a few days later in Lewiston, Music Mondays, July 20th, it's 7:00. And
it's a beautiful venue as well.
It is. We performed there last summer,
right.
A huge crowd, and they loved us enough to have us back. And then I've never been to Larkinville for Food Truck Tuesday, but on Tuesday, August 4th, from 5 to 8, we're performing around a bunch of food trucks.
And most of your performances, are they by design in the summer? I don't see an awful lot.
Yeah, it's easier because, so the chamber singers performs from October to May generally, sometimes March. So that kind of follows the whole the choral group calendar. So summer is when I can get the jazz oriented people free, and then school, because a lot of us are teachers. We're done in June, so July is just easier to organize. And it seems like a lot of people like that time of year. Doesn't mean we won't perform throughout the year, but
it's a high concentration of work in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, because what do rehearsals look like, right? 2 hours at a crack?
Yeah, 2.5 hours about.
Yeah.
And we'll do like 6. And that's a thing to really fine tune things. But that's why it's hard. It's imperative that you pick the right people who just learn quickly, sight read.
So do you send out I'm just curious now on the technical side of it.
Yeah.
But I've never been a part of a group like that. So when you're doing your rehearsals, do you send the music out 3 weeks in advance and say, okay, this is what we're doing, learn your part and get together and you do it? Is that how it works,
yeah.
or?
So I'll put it in Google Drive. I'll put all the PDFs. Of course, I have legal, hard copies to cover those. But yeah, I'll put everything in a drive and they could start listening if there's demo tracks. So by the first rehearsal, it's good if people are at least prepared to read through.
Can they sight sing that stuff? I mean, are they that proficient where they can get
Some
the music
are.
and look at it?
Yeah, I mean, perfectly no. Like I'm a pretty good sight reader, but like some of this jazz stuff, you no one's singing the root of the chord, right? It's all just like these, non-chord tones. So it's like, yeah, you could sight read it, but I mean, the thing is like just getting people together, finding out the dynamic of the group for the first time, and then maybe a couple weeks later we have our next rehearsal. So it gives them about 2 weeks to really dig in, and then come back for the last few and really bring it to the next level.
Are most of the members of the group, are they professional vocalists?
Most of them, yeah, I would say so. I mean, a lot of choral educators.
All right, well, that's perfect then, right? Because
yeah,
they understand.
Yeah, they know how to plunk stuff out on the piano. Yeah. Some of them are professional, like they're school teachers, but they're also professional singers or professional performers in some way. Yeah.
For what you're doing, I would think that they would have to be. I don't think that you could just be a novice and go and nail that.
Right.
That repertoire. You just can't.
Yeah. And, sometimes I find practice tracks or like pre-recorded, like Kerry Marsh is an arranger that we often use, and he records everything, like demo tracks, background tracks without the vocals. Yeah. So it's like, if I could find it and make it easier for the singers to learn quickly, then yeah, I do it.
Well, they seem to be very, very dedicated to the group and to the art form. To a person, there's not one person up there that's not taking it very seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the best people to work with.
Yeah. And as well as I do, in an ensemble, there's no place to hide.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to look at the person next to you and go like this and roll your eyes if something doesn't. It just doesn't work that way. Nothing's covering anything up.
Right, especially with jazz. I mean, you're performing, right? You're telling a story. You're conveying some kind of message. So, like, you have to remind them, even when it's a little bit difficult, and we're like, "Are we going to make it through?" You still have to make it look like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other part of your presentation and I know I'm focusing in on the vocal jazz, and we can come back to the chamber singers too if you want, but I like the fact that you mix in the a cappella with the live band too, because that sets it apart. I think you can, as a member of the audience, I think you can appreciate the difference in the sound. I think you can appreciate the difference in the artistry when you're playing along with the rhythm section and when it's a cappella. It's although very much in the same style, dramatically different.
Yeah.
Dramatically. That's a nice color for your concerts. That's something I absolutely love.
Yeah. Well, I think going back to the idea of variety, like the audience likes to hear that. There's always, we do surveys at these things, and there's always, every song is a favorite of somebody. For whatever reason. Sometimes
on the program, which one did you like the best?
Yeah, exactly. What was your favorite song?
And there's somebody's going to pick out one of those 12.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they like that difference in sound, like difference in timbre, or just like taking out the band and like just letting the voices shine. The last several years, we brought in a vocal percussionist. Even though like one of our singers, Peter, he's great at vocal percussion, but like we brought in people who do it professionally and come in and join us for one of the a cappella tunes. Yeah, so yeah, I just like mixing it up.
And this is what year for the vocal? It's 5 for the jazz.
5 for the jazz.
And
20th for the group. Yeah.
Wow. So going back to the chamber singers, because I think we kind of like stepped away from them. Do you have anything coming up with them this summer or into the fall, or where should we look to see that happening?
Yeah, well, we start up in the fall, so October. This year, it's going to be a lot of collaboration. At least that's the plan right now. We got to get dates all nailed down. But in October, we might collaborate with a group called First Inversion. They're based in Rochester. They're similar to us. They do big variety of repertoire. And, they're kind of like a collective. So they have a rotating roster, and they're a little larger than our chamber group. They're about 40 singers. So that might be on the horizon. I'm just throwing out ideas here.
Sure.
Don't quote me on it, but Christmas is also a favorite of ours, so we'll do Christmas concerts in December. We always have to look out for the bill schedule. So now that that's
I
released,
think everybody does.
yeah. So we want to avoid a Bills game, obviously. So we have Christmas, and then in March, if things go right, we're bringing in Blake Morgan from Voces 8, which is maybe the best-known choral group in the entire universe ever. And so he is a tenor, the only American tenor with them. He is going to come in and work with local schools, Harmonia. We're going to do a program of his arrangements and his original compositions. And so that's going to be a big deal. That's sometime in March of 2027. And then in July of 2027, we're hoping to bring in Darman Meter of New York Voices. And we're going to do a whole bunch of his arrangements and bring him to Buffalo and hopefully collaborate with him. So a lot of collaboration in our 21st year. Our marketing director, Charlie, also said that, or reminded me that it's our 21st year, so we're legal next year.
Oh,
so
okay,
so
that's
maybe
right.
it may be some sort of theme related to being 21, but we'll have
all
to
these
see.
drinking songs.
Yeah,
right?
I guess, what
That'll
shall we do
work.
with the Drunken Sailor? Although we just did that for our 20th, so we'll bring it back maybe.
I don't know if most people realized, again, we spoke of it a little bit, how rich the pool is for people that really can do this and how they want to do it locally. And I give you kudos for what you've been able to do and keep it together. How do we find you? Website?
Yeah, website, Facebook, yeah. So the website is harmoniacs.org. So Harmonia CS for chambersingers.org. And Facebook is Harmoniacs is our handle. And Instagram, I think it's Harmonia Buffalo.
There you
One
go.
word, Harmonia Buffalo. Even though I don't check Instagram too often, Charlie does. And I guess we have a TikTok page, but I don't have TikTok.
Okay.
That's for the young folks.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I
Apparently
got
we
one
have-
of these things. It's a phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got one of
That's
those
about
too.
as
Yeah,
far as I go.
right.
Anyway, listen. This has been a very, very enlightening interview here. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. In closing, is there anything that you'd like to just leave us with?
No, I mean this was my first podcast ever.
You'd never know it. You did a wonderful job.
I was nervous at first, but you were very disarming. It was great. So hopefully not my last one.
No, I
might
think-
just start one now.
I think after this, Emerge, that's what they're all about.
Yeah.
And you could do something along the same lines, just as long as it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Now everybody does a podcast these days. No,
Right.
and all kidding aside, though, I wish you nothing but the best. You've got a fantastic group. Everything you do is top notch, and I'm looking
Appreciate
forward to this year's concert series.
Thank you.
Okay, until the next time, Lou Custodi with the Local Spin.